Africa means business. Tune into Africa in Business with Tami Ngubeni for the future of the African economy. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
So in our C-suite today, we have Victor Nemukula, Managing Director of Shumani Industrial Equipment, a South African-based industrial and construction equipment provider. Now, Nemukula is a former sales and marketing director at some of the country's leading daily and weekend publications. Victor Nemukula describes his leadership approach as both visionary and grounded in practical execution. Today, his company, Shumani Industrial Equipment, is a leader in South Africa's industrial and construction equipment sector. He joins us now on the line. A very warm welcome to the C-suite, sir. Welcome, Victor. Are you with us? It doesn't seem like Victor, either he can't hear us, but we certainly cannot hear him. Victor, can you hear us? Are you with us? I don't know if you're muted, Victor. All right, let's try once again. We'll take him back to production and see if we can get him back on the line. He is Victor Nemukula, our guest this afternoon on the C-suite. And there you go. I did hear a voice coming through. So, Victor, welcome. Good to have you with us. And I'm glad that we did finally get connected. And I must say, when I was reading and just noticed that you moved from sales and marketing to pursue a career in the industrial and construction equipment space, that looks like such a huge leap. What informed that? Why did you leave?
When I left, I wanted to start my own business. And then the Shumani opportunity came by. I joined it before it started, so I'm the founding managing director of the business. And we started it in joint ventureship with Gosco, who are an established player in the industrial equipment market. And Shumani has been in operation ever since. So it was an opportunistic chance that came by because I hardly knew much about the industry.
And that's really the interesting part. You know, people might end up, quote unquote, upgrading within the same sector, but for you it was something completely different. Can you talk to us about how that opportunity actually came about and how this joint venture, this partnership between yourself and Bosco actually came to life? What made you think that you could actually really do this, an industry where you were basically a virgin? You had no idea what actually happens in that particular sector.
Yeah, so I was starting a business in the waste management. So I was leaving a job and I wanted to start my own business. Coincidentally, Gosco was also looking for a partnership with a black-owned company in order for that company to sell and be a dealer for Gosco group of companies. So that is how the whole journey started. And that was 10 years ago.
Now, what would you highlight as perhaps some of the biggest learning curves for you as you initiated yourself into a new space?
Well, the industrial equipment industry is nothing like anything that I've been involved in the past. It's very capital intensive. And when you start kind of a business, you can't start it without a sufficient capital to run it because it is comprised of moving parts. You need the banks on the one hand to finance your customers. You need very specific skills because it's a very tight industry and with a very shortage of skill, particularly for black people at a senior management level. When I came into the industry, it was exclusively white at the top. And that's one of the lessons. But also, you don't come into the industry with preconceived ideas in terms of what you're going to do. You let the industry to lead you and to learn. and develop, and you must be very open-minded. Where we started 10 years ago and where we are today, it's a completely different journey. And the lessons were huge. And you also learn that there are industries that we as Black people don't even know that they exist, particularly at a senior managerial level. So, I mean, for many years, and I think for up to now, I'm probably one of the very few senior Black managers in the industry. And it's the industry that is virtually unknown. I mean, you go to macro, you see a forklift. It never occurs in your mind that there is such an industry called a forklift industry. You go to the port, there are huge port handling equipment. And it's an industry that most of us don't know that it exists for some reason or the other.
And I wonder about this, Victor, and you literally sort of answered my next question, because I wanted to ask you around the issue of transformation. It's over 30 years now into democracy as far as South Africa is concerned. There was at least the first decade of quote unquote the new South Africa where you could understand being the first Black to do this, the first Black to do that. But are we over that now? Have we actually developed enough Black people in key positions that were previously exclusively reserved for white people?
No. We need to change course. The entire supply chain, the senior management in the industry is almost exclusively white. You would still find a whole organization with this, not even one Black executive. So we are far off. I mean, in some of the industries, particularly this industry, we are still pre-1994. There are simply no Black managers.
And that's
and
the
you will
reason.
find that you will find that a senior Black person is a sales guy. So no, we are still far off.
So that's the reason why, Victor, policies like broad-based Black economic empowerment and BEE were put in place in order to facilitate this transfer of skills, transfer of knowledge. Why is this not happening? Is it a policy issue? Is it a willingness issue? What exactly are the reasons behind it?
A problem is implementation and enforcement. They virtually, I don't know. I mean, this industry is probably not very well known. I don't know of the enforcement ever happening in the industry. So we've got good legislation, we've got good laws. And when you read some of the laws, they are well thought through. But they are, it's as good as a piece of paper because it's not being implemented and it's not being enforced. So as a result, even some of the large-scale companies, they would rather buy toilet papers and some low-value items than where the crux of the matter is in terms of the engine of the economic growth. Because forklift industry and the port handling industry are part of the logistics industry, and they are at the core of economic growth. You only start seeing the uptake in the forklift industry to see that the economy is growing.
That's right.
So some of the disappointments of the past 30 years.
I mean, so unfortunate that time is not on our side, but really, really quickly, I know that you're also operating outside of South African borders now. And if you could also just touch on your locally branded forklift range, Bega, as we wrap up this afternoon.
Yeah, so we launched the first South African branded forklift, Bega forklift, and obviously Shumani is an African name. So we wanted a product that resonates with the South Africans as we embark on the journey of transformation for the industry. I mean, even though it's still far off from transformation, but I mean, we wanted to be one of the first that resonate with the workers, with the employees, and with the changing nature of our economy. So it's a forklift that we source from China, and we brand it back with our own colors. And the uptake in the market has been short of phenomenal.
Well, we wish you continued success as you go from strength to strength, and also continued transformation in the industry at senior managerial level, as you've spoken. Victor Nemukula, it's been a pleasure hosting you in the C-suite this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That's Victor Nemukula. He is the managing director for Shumani Industrial Equipment, a South African-based industrial and construction equipment provider, as you've heard, making strides as well across the continent. He takes us to exactly 4:52.
Africa in business.